We really believe that everybody out there has an X factor to them. Everybody has something that's unique, that stands out. And now is the time, like one of our mottos is, you have a voice and it deserves to be heard. And you're a storyteller. And it's time for people to share their stories, to feel really good about what they're doing, to make good money, of course, because it's a business, but to really enjoy life. And we've got to stop following trends. We've got to stop worrying about what everybody thinks this idea of this company is or something. If you find your passion, your why, right? And you just do it, it just resonates.
Welcome to Audio Branding, the hidden gem of marketing. Sound plays a more important role in human behavior and our decision-making than you may realize. In this podcast, I'll help you understand the art and science of sound so you can better influence others in business and your life. I'm your host, Jody Krangle. Let's delve a little deeper. Here's the second part of my interview with G. Wright. I'm curious about something else too, and I know that we had talked about this a little bit off recording before we got here, and that is introverts versus extroverts as far as public speaking is concerned, or even music performance. So do you find when you are working with people, if they happen to be an introvert, are you teaching them different things than if they're an extrovert? Are these two different groups learning different things?
That is a great question, because my partner, Sandy D, is an introvert Virgo who was terrified of public speaking before she sat down in front of a mic.
I get it.
And I'm the extrovert Gemini who has no problem walking on stage in front of 10,000 people. But I think the similarities between both and the differences of both is that we each need different ways to recharge. We each need to find ways to get into our inner zen, into that pre-show, into that rock star mode. I found that a lot of, like most people's favorite performers, before they go on stage, they're actually very quiet. They're very shy. They get into, 30 minutes before show, there's nothing. There's no music, there's no fans, there's nothing. It's like, okay, they just get into that
peace.
Yes, and maybe it's meditation, maybe it's yoga, it's vocal warm-ups, it's, so whether somebody's an introvert or an extrovert, I think a lot of people still have the same fear of public speaking. And I think if we go to conquer the fear of public speaking, then you can cater it. Okay, as an introvert, there's going to be certain things that they like to do before they perform. Plus, when they come off stage after a show, they may be really tired because it's like you've given it your all. Same thing with extroverts. I've seen a lot of artists come off stage. They're soaked in sweat and they just want 30 minutes of quiet because they left it all on stage. So yeah, that's interesting, because we do work with introverts and extroverts, and we find that when they're really confident with what they're talking about and having fun, that it's like, okay, yeah, I'm an introvert, let's embrace this. I'm an extrovert, let's embrace this.
Sure.
Yeah,
and definitely the way to recover energy is different between the two. I mean, I know, for instance, I am a raging introvert.
Really?
And yet, here we are.
I had
definitely.
No idea. I had no idea.
Yes. Yeah, but like I said, it's more about how I regain my energy and less about being shy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I've managed to overcome the shyness through being an adult.
Right.
And needing to, handle things like being on a podcast or, like being in a live session with my clients for voiceover. Like, that's stuff I have to do on a daily basis. And so I've learned to not let it stop me, but then afterwards, I do need a little bit of time to regain my energy. So I've heard it from the position of you. I guess this is how a lot of people sort of explain away whether they have energy to get through the day or whether they regain energy from other people. So I have a certain amount of energy that I start with in the day and I deplete it as I go through my day. Whereas other people don't have it to start with, and other people help them generate their energy as they go through their day. So that's the extrovert, right? So you get more energy as an extrovert from being with people
Yes.
and talking with people and getting, energy off of energy, right? Whereas I lose my energy. It doesn't mean that I don't do it or that I don't want to do it, but that it takes energy out of me. And so when I'm done with that, I have to go away and have some peace.
Right.
So
right. It's very important to have time to just chill and relax and, do the show, do the best you can for the show, but then walk away from it for a bit. And I also tell a lot of our clients that are they're so excited they have this new skill. They want to go on and do like 10 podcasts in a day. And I'm like, no, pace yourself. Pace yourself.
Oh my
Pace
goodness.
yourself.
Yeah.
And enjoy and celebrate your
I
wins.
get stressed out.
Yeah. Well,
definitely. Yeah. Celebrating the wins is important. But yeah, I have to schedule myself very carefully.
yes.
And I
Me
think
too.
a lot of introverts maybe, I think a lot of people in general can use that advice that, scheduling your time is important, and scheduling time that you have to do the things that you really enjoy that have nothing to do with your job is also really important.
Right. Find your inner zen. Find that thing.
Yes.
A lot of singers they'll go on stage and they're jumping around and everything, but then on off days they want to golf, or they want to go to a spa,
Very true.
or they just want to sit at the park and watch birds. It's not being a rock star is not. It's turned on all the time. The real pros, turn it on when they need to, but then it's really important to have that. Okay, I'm just gonna walk away from everything and just relax and find something. Sometimes music is a great way. Sometimes meditations, whatever it is. Just walking the dog.
Yeah.
It's like,
For me, I just need silence. There's just certain periods of the day where I need absolute silence. And I can be doing other things while I'm having that silence, but I need that peace just for a little bit,
you and Sandy would get along so well. She has a phrase that says cup is full, because me, it's hard to have silence. My brain's always going, and I'm like, and then she'll just go, cup is full, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go away and just give, okay, I'm going to leave the studio and I'm going to go take the dog for a walk or something. And it really does help for me as an extrovert. I never realized this, working with all these people. I never really realized until, now, being in a relationship with an introvert, that silence is where you get the recharge.
Definitely.
We have to recognize that.
And my mom is actually a Virgo,
Your
so I
mom's
know
a Virgo,
exactly
so
what you're talking about.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I get it totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's really good at organizing too, isn't she?
Yes. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah. That was definitely a part of our home life too. Yeah.
Yep.
So as far as your clients for public speaking are concerned, have you had any really interesting success stories that you might want to talk about?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear how your training helped someone.
Yeah, thanks. I think one of the biggest changes that we've seen with this one client is, and she came to us and she was really confident with being on camera. So it wasn't, and she's an extrovert as well. So she wasn't dealing with the fear of public speaking. She's like, I can go on camera, I can talk, but I just don't feel good about what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I believe in what I'm saying, but it's that lack of confidence, right? And she's a coach. So she was working with clients and charging like a low dollar amount. I won't say the amount, but a low dollar amount. And then after, working with us, she's like, you know what? You're right. I do have the X factor. There is something unique. I we showed her, like, you have a gift. You have a talent that not many people have. So you need to establish the value on that. Remember, your time and money is valuable. And once we lose it, we can't get it. I mean, we get money back, but we can't get time back. So you have to decide, who do you want to work with and what level? And so she raised her prices, and now she feels much better because she gets to work with the people that she wants to work with. I said, it's just like the bands that, go from charging $25 a ticket to, $150 or more nowadays. There's a reason. You get the right people to come to the show. If you're offering things for free, and we saw this with shows, if you're offering things for free or very cheap, their attention span isn't there. They're not as committed. So they might take a lot of your time, a lot of your energy. Even you're an extrovert. You're spending all this energy on taking care of these people, and they're not appreciating the value that you're really bringing them.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. A lot of us could stand to charge what we're worth, especially artists.
Yeah.
Because that whole starving artist thing, right? Because we don't feel like we can ask for money for something intangible. It's hard, I think,
Art,
when
commerce,
we're trying to sell something.
It's always been but people will pay to see the Rolling Stones.
They totally will, yeah.
Because or any of those bands that have been around for a while, because there's value associated with them. And it comes from that, they're such great at storytelling and so authentic to who they are that that's what brings your fans in. And stop doing things for free or cheap. It's like this isn't discount coaching. This isn't discount, like, I won't use a word, but a retailer I'm talking about, because it might be one of your clients, so I don't want to say it. But it isn't that type of. You get what I'm saying. It's like,
I totally get it.
You've been doing this for a while. You have value. You're very good at what you do. You transform people's lives. You bring value to their life that you need to say, this is the line in the sand. This is what I charge. And there are people out there that will pay it, and they'll be happy to.
Totally. Yeah,
because they get
exactly.
the value.
I think that's a very good point.
Yeah.
I know we're all dealing with a lot these days, so I really wanted to acknowledge those that have gone out of their way to leave an honest review of this podcast. Audio Lover 1429 writes, "Great audio about audio. What's not to like?" Jody takes her listeners on a journey exploring the art and science of audio. Great stories and some deep insights into why audio is so hot today. Beautifully produced, and Jody makes it fun. I appreciate your appreciation, Audio Lover. I'm glad you learned something by listening. Thanks so much for your review. And now, back to the show.
There's also something else to consider, and along with that, chicken before the egg, right? Like, because if you are charging a decent amount of money, people assume that you are supplying a premium product. Right? That's just the way we are programmed to be.
Right.
So if you're not charging anything, people are programmed to think that it's not worth anything.
Right.
So if you are charging not what you're worth, you are inadvertently giving people the impression that you are not worth that.
Exactly.
So
that's the key.
Yeah. So do yourself a favor.
Yes.
And charge what you are worth unapologetically, because the people who will appreciate what you are offering are the ones who will pay it. I will tell you that people who quibble with me for every dollar when it comes to voiceover pricing are the clients who require the most amount of hand holding.
Yes.
Because they want the most out of me. Every second, every little bit has to be precisely,
Yes.
And yet the people who pay the most are like, oh, you're the expert. You just give me what, you do your job and I will be happy to pay it.
That's
your dream client,
right? You're very good at what
Exactly.
you do. I'm going to pay you whatever it is. That's, and I want it done. I know it's going to be
great. To do the job you know how to do.
This is what you do every day. So rather than micromanaging or saying, well, can we, like all this, it's like, look, just pay people. Pay people. If the car needs fixed, I take it to the mechanic. I don't go around to 5 different mechanics and find a guy who says, I'll do it for free. I take it to the mechanic that I know and trust. And that's what this guy does. He works on cars every day. My car is nothing new to him. It's not going to be a surprise, like, wow, I've never seen that type of wheel before, right? It's the same every day. So hire people, professionals that do this every day, and you get more out of it than, putting a dollar amount on it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah.
And that goes into the lack of confidence. A lot of people feel that they're not confident enough. Like, well, I'm not. Well, you got to start there. We got to build the confidence first before we start building the business. We have to build the why.
Very good point. Yeah. You better know your why, because that's how you get your confidence.
Yes.
You know you have something to offer.
Yes.
And when you have something to offer, you know that you can charge for it. So, yeah, I think that's very important. And that's part of your training. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So along those lines, are you also teaching people how to be on podcasts?
Yes.
And is that a difference between public speaking to an audience and speaking on a podcast? What would you say the difference is?
If you're going on radio or TV or something where it's a very short segment, you've got to really be dialed. Like, they're going to ask you 2 or 3 questions. And that, you have a set list for that, but it's going to be a different set list. The answers, the stories you share are going to be a lot different when you're on TV or radio, because everything is so timed out. When you're going on a podcast, this is the best way for people to get to know you. This is the best way.
Longer format.
So just have that, and that's what we offer with the band. Is when they join, they're part of the band. It's a private community. Right now it's Facebook. It might change to something else, but it's a private group where, clients can go and practice their messaging. They don't have to go onto a podcast and try out new messaging and new branding. They can try it in the band. Just like the bands do, pre-production rehearsals. Let's try this song out. And then the manager says, it's okay. I like that song better. You can get constructive feedback from everybody. So when they go on a podcast, they're ready to go. But it's just like what we're doing today. It's just 2 people having a conversation. And when you take away all that stress and all that, like, oh, what if I say the wrong thing? It's just, it's just Jody and G having a conversation. That's all it is. So... And the more podcasts they do, the more comfortable they feel. And we coach them through the podcast. We coach them depending on what media they're going into. But podcasts are the business card, are the new branding. It's the best way for people to
That's a good point.
Get their message out.
Yeah, I love it. And they're getting more popular all the time. So that is definitely a future growth medium, I believe.
Yeah, podcasts, I think, are going to be the new, they already are, but they're going to be like the new platform where someone they see a brand and they want to know about the brand. They're not going to look at, TV and radio ads as much. They're going to look at that to grab their attention, but then they're going to listen to a podcast. They want to hear what this founder is really about. And the podcast is part of the whole marketing and, advertising and promotion, and I think it's very powerful to get your word out.
Definitely. I'll bet you've spoken to a lot of CEOs who need to go on podcasts and understand how to make that authentic connection.
We had this conversation on Clubhouse, you and I, a while ago as well. And yes, that's the thing. I think a lot of the big companies, these CEOs, they're hiding behind things. I think if they come out, whether you like them or not, you got to respect the guy, Elon Musk. I mean, you have no question of where he stands on certain things. I mean, he is very out front. Richard Branson, very out front, is like, hey, this is my company. This is why I do it. I think if other companies and CEOs would kind of take that, initiative and go out there and be more in the public, let the public really know who you are that's buying your products and why you care.
Yeah. Why you care is the big one. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you do, let's hope they do.
And if you don't get yourself a good media trainer to convince them that you do. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
we don't believe in manipulation. We don't believe in like that's, there's people out there that specialize in that, politics and things. No. We're talking about just people feeling really comfortable with who they are and what they do. And hey, if you need this is what I do, and I'm here to help. We don't work with
Yeah.
politicians for that reason, because I'm not going to give them these
good to
trade
know.
secrets to these politicians. They have enough already.
No. Yeah, there's enough going on there. So
Yes.
I have a question for you as far as the future of sound. I know that you've dealt with a lot of this because you've been in so many different mediums of sound at this point, from radio to music performance to public speaking. So where do you see this going into the future? Are there mediums of sound that you think we haven't fully explored yet?
I think with all the technology that we have, it really is going to come down to people connecting one-on-one with people through sound. And whether that's podcasts or, YouTubes and all that. As far as the technology.
Or Clubhouse.
Yeah, Clubhouse, exactly. And we were talking about, you sent me the link for those earbuds. That because we were talking off camera about this, about how people need to protect
the bone conducting.
Yes. Here, the PSA for this episode. You need to protect your ears, okay? Wearing headphones, wearing earbuds. You need to protect your ears. The ringing in the ears, it's bad, and I won't go into the science. Everyone knows the science of it, but I have a lot of friends that are dealing with it, but when it starts ringing, it doesn't stop. It's something we can't turn off. We have to protect our ears. So I think what we need to do with technology is we need to get into more of this using mic and headset and get away from that, I call it the Zoom ear, the sound of what people using mics on their computer and speakers and there's frequencies that are going into the ears that are not good frequencies. They're in that mid range, and our ears are becoming accustomed to that sound, and that's not a good thing necessarily. I think we need to really embrace it. You have a voice and it deserves to be heard. You have a story to share, and by taking the time to learn how to use a mic and headset like this and have that crystal clear quality, it's not only better for your audience that's listening, but it's also better for your ears, because now you can control 100% what's coming into your ears through your earbuds and your headphones, and control the volume. So
yes,
that's my PSA.
The volume is key too. Yeah, thank you. Very good PSA.
Yes, thank you.
Also, when people are putting earbuds into their ears, there's wax buildup that can get really bad, right? So that is something else to pay attention to as well, which is why we were talking about the bone conductive earbuds. So I can't remember what they're called now. My goodness.
I have the link in email. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to check into this.
Yeah.
Have you tried those before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have a pair.
Oh, you have a pair?
And they're great.
Yeah?
I have a pair, and they're great. Yeah, I use them when I'm exercising.
Oh, wow.
Because they loop around your ear, so they stay in place. And yeah, they're actually really good. But it's actually hitting you like right behind your earlobe.
Really?
Like that's where the actual like conductive piece is. So it's conducting almost through. Well, it's bone conducting, right? But it's through your head. Like it's not actually in your ear. It's actually really fantastic.
I've got to try this.
And, you know, wax buildup isn't really a problem when you're using something like that.
Yeah.
So, that's. But definitely protecting your hearing is a very important part of getting through life in a rewarding manner.
Because we got to remember, before the 2-year vacation, before the pandemic, everybody was used to doing things one-on-one. You had to go to conferences and everything. And then with Zoom, everybody's like, okay, like, you know, and using whatever platform. But the concept is the same, that you can sit in your home office and broadcast to people. But somewhere along the line, sound went away. I don't know. People were spending so much money on cameras and lights and how they look on camera. And I'm like, the sound is just as important, not just how you sound to the audience, but protecting your own ears, you know, like this.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me that sound is paid less attention to than video. Yeah. But what's really amazing to me is that people notice when the sound is bad.
Yes.
They don't really notice when the sound is good. Right. So if the sound is good, then it contributes to the whole of the video audio experience, and it doesn't take away from anything that you're watching or listening to. If the sound is bad, then suddenly something else is happening.
And mic technique is everything. Like if I was talking to you back here, just even like you know what I see on video, just even back a little bit. If you're wearing headphones, you hear that immediately and you go, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't sound good. But if you're not wearing headphones and you're doing an interview and you're using a mic, but you don't know the mic technique and everything, then you hear the playback of the interview and like, oh, that didn't sound good. Well, I'm sorry, but as professionals, it's your job when you go on a show to do the best you can, to sound the best, look the best, whatever it is, like video lighting. But really, the sound is what people are going to hear and remember. And that's where the message is going to come through.
Are you looking for ways to improve your company's or podcast's impact? You'd be surprised how powerful the use of an intentional audio branding strategy can be. Want to know more? I have a free downloadable PDF that gives you my 5 tips for implementing an intentional audio strategy at voiceoversandvocals.com/audio-branding-strategy. That location does ask to put you on a mailing list, just to send you updates on when the new podcasts come out. But if you really don't want to give your email out, I understand. Just contact me directly. My email is all over my website, and I'll make sure you get that PDF without needing to sign up anywhere. If you do sign up, though, you also get access to a resources section called The Studio, where I have videos, white papers, and PDFs, discounts from my guests, and snippets of audio from my guests that no one else gets to hear. So maybe it's worth your while. Totally up to you. And of course, if you're looking for voiceovers, you can get in touch with me about that too. Now, back to the podcast.
One of the things that I notice is that if someone isn't wearing headphones, the sound is always not great.
Right.
I think a lot because of echo cancellation, and I've talked about this with a lot of different people, but you have to turn off that echo cancellation if at all possible, because it can really ruin a recording. It's awful.
Yeah.
So wearing headphones becomes key.
Yeah. Mic and headphones, it goes together. I mean, radio guys, or he, she, they, you know what I mean? Like everybody in radio has been doing it forever. There's a reason. TV, they use lapel mics. There's a reason. They have a earpiece in their ear. There's a reason. There's a professionalism of this. So there's nothing wrong with people taking time to go out. You don't have to spend $10,000 on studio, but have a great mic, have great headset or earbuds, practice on your Zoom meetings, your client meetings, and it will save your ears in the long run.
Yeah. And your reputation, because we all want to look good.
We all want to sound great. Yes,
good.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So it helps. So what are you working on now that you'd like to talk about?
Well, we just launched Rockstar. I'm going on guesting on a lot of podcasts, so thank you again for having me on your show, Jody.
You're very welcome.
It's interesting because I spent my whole life behind the scenes. I was always the one side stage, the one, off camera during interviews. And now with the company, and Sandy's like, well, you got to let people know about the company and about Rockstar. You got to go out and do interviews. And I'm like, oh, I don't mind. But I see it from different sides now. You know what I mean? I see it from like, I don't know if maybe it's because of being in the music industry for so long, but I don't get nervous about being on camera. I focus more on if I'm going to talk too long, because extrovert Gemini, but
okay,
and divert off, and that's why the set list helps keep me on track. What we're doing now is we're just going out and finding the right band members and really, discovering and developing rock stars. We really believe that everybody out there has an X factor to them. Everybody has something that's unique, that stands out, and now is the time, like one of our mottos is, you have a voice and it deserves to be heard, and you're a storyteller, and it's time for people to share their stories, to feel really good about what they're doing, to make good money, of course, because it's a business, but to really enjoy life. And we've got to stop following trends. We've got to stop worrying about what everybody thinks this idea of this company is or something. If you find your passion, your why, right? and you just do it. It just resonates. And that's what we're doing, is helping coaches and authors and creative entrepreneurs find their why. Yeah.
Wonderful. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about this program
Thank
of yours?
you. You can sign up for the band at allthingsrelaxstudios.com, be part of the Rockstar Media Training. You can follow us over on IG at All Things Relax Studios, as well as you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You know, if you're connected to Jody, you can connect to me, or you can we can put the link in there for LinkedIn. Yeah. Love to connect with.
Sure. We'll put that in the show notes, and yeah, people can find you if they'd like to get in on that band.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, thank you. And thanks for the mug. I don't know if they can see it on camera, but yeah, I love this mug. This is awesome. Thank you, Jody. I really appreciate your show. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Cheers. Thanks.
Well, that's the end of this episode. Thanks for listening. And if you like what you heard, why not tell a friend about this podcast? It's available in all the usual locations. Until next time.